Ninja Slayer! This week's episode was pretty freaking awesome. We finally got our first encounter between Ninja Slayer and Yamoto Koki, and it did not disappoint. Not only that, but we got a little bit of action, we got some nice animation, and lots of great atmosphere, ridiculous explosions, and more of that classic South Park Aqua Teen styled animation that you either love or hate. The soul of the ninja burns brightly in this week's episode, my friends. And what I really loved about this one is that it firmly establishes that the side characters of Ninja Slayer are going to be just as important and ridiculous and overpowered as Ninja Slayer himself. And that brings us to Yamoto Koki, who in this week's episode kicked all sorts of ass. She fought against the Yakuza and Sonic Boom, and she did it all with the power of her exploding origami. That's her powers. When she goes through her transformation sequence, it's actually very subtle. Basically, she just gets this long, stylized purple scarf. She's able to create origamis in multiple different forms, like a crane, toss them at people, and then they explode. Sonic Boom, however, is no slouch. He's a very huge, big, brawly, super-powered character, and I imagine he's probably even more powerful than he lets on, because he's actually not even trying to kill Yamoto. He's actually trying to get her to come over to the Sokaya Syndicate, but that's not going to work, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ninja Slayer appears, eating some ramen, and this scene is great, because it looks like he's already in mid-pose while he's eating his ramen bowl, takes a big sip, and then there's a big, massive explosion right behind him, and it's so awesome. I love all of the random explosions in this show. It also happens, of course, when you get to see Yamoto go through her transformation sequence, which is just very funny. You're just waiting for it because you see her standing there with the black screen, and you know that fire's just gonna pop up any second. And speaking of explosions, this week's episode certainly has it in spades when they do defeat Sonic Boom in a very nice action sequence, which is another combination of the really good fluid animation and the stick figure stuff that, like I said, you either love or hate. But frankly, I think it's really awesome. I especially love the one scene where both Ninja Slayer and Sonic Boom punch each other at the same time in the fists, and this completely breaks Sonic Boom's hand, and blood is constantly streaming out of it in the most ridiculous cartoonish fashion. And that's when Yamoto finally decides to finish off Sonic Boom with her ultimate technique, where she makes this massive purple Phoenix origami, which just explodes and destroys Sonic Boom. In this scene, of course, there's a big build-up to it, getting to see the technique. As soon as it's unleashed, it's basically just stick figure animation. But it's awesome, because it ends the way it always ends when someone gets destroyed in Ninja Slayer. Sayonara! As I theorized in my previous review, it looks like Naraku Ninja actually wants to kill all ninja and never team up with any of them. And when Ninja Slayer finally gets a moment to talk to Yamoto, Naraku Ninja tries to tell him to actually try and kill her. And he tries to withstand this and fight back, and he starts bleeding tears. It's really freaking awesome. And he begs Yamoto to go away. So I know that they're going to have another crazy encounter, and they're probably going to battle. It looks like he's going to have to try and tame the ninja within. Yamoto reassures her friends that she'll always be there to protect them as she goes into the night like the ninja she is. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Ninja Slayer? Another super fun episode, which again, just like the previous one, had a little more traditional animation mixed in with the whole Aqua Teen style animation, which, you know what, I'm okay with that. I've accepted the fact that it is going to be a part of this show, and there's a lot of the times when it just makes me laugh, like, especially during that big final action scene. In fact, now when I watch the episodes, I'm constantly at the edge of my seat wondering when that type of animation is going to pop up, and usually it always seems to happen after the end of a really big flashy attack, like when Yamoto was creating her giant Phoenix origami. I kind of figured in the back of my mind, alright, the minute she unleashes this attack, it's probably gonna go to that weird, goofy animation, isn't it? And yep, it did. Sayonara, but it was awesome. That's weird. There wasn't an explosion there. Well, anyway, I really like this episode. Enough explosions! This episode had enough. This episode was really good. Good animation, fantastic freaking artwork. The color scheme in the show is amazing, especially just in the costume design. Especially that one scene when Sonic Boom and Ninja Slayer were fighting against each other. Just the way the different colors come off of his shirt. It's absolutely amazing and really unlike anything that I've ever seen before, and really adds a lot of style to this show, which is something that all action anime fans, and just anime fans in general, need to check out. Ninja Slayer is a lot of fun, and so was this week's action-packed, really fun episode, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Ninja Slayer fans. It was awesome. So I loved this episode a lot. I thought it was an action-packed thrill ride, but what about you guys? Did you watch this week's episode of Ninja Slayer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you have a favorite character from the series? A favorite action scene? What do you want to see from the rest of the Ninja Slayer anime series? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it and share it with all of your friends, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, sayonara!